All right, you guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am we are on day 7 of the 30-day challenge, the real estate challenge. So all month we will be talking about how you can position yourself to be able to purchase your first or next property. Now, here's the thing. I know I've been talking about real estate from the beginning, investing, excuse me, at the beginning, but I also want to just talk about how to just even just get your property from the standpoint, even if you want to be able to be uh this to be your first home that you're moving into. All right. Now, don't what I want to clarify is that the 100K payday bootcamp is not just for individuals that want to invest, right? If you have a goal to use your first property as a for you to live in, but you know that you want to be able to purchase other properties as you build your portfolio out, then that's something you want to be a part of. Okay. And so tonight we're going to talk about the 3 things you need in place to purchase your first or next property. All right. Now, this first or next property can be a primary, secondary investment. It doesn't matter. This is what you want to make sure is in place so that you can be able to start building your real estate portfolio. And like I said, you could start with your own primary, a secondary property if you already have one, or an investment property. It is up to you. Okay. But no matter what property you decide to get, these are the 3 things you want to have in place to make sure you can get what you want to get. Okay. Now, the first thing, something I always harp on, is credit. The better your score is, the better you're going to see in terms of opportunities for loan programs, and as well as programs for investing in interest rates. You guys, one of the biggest things that plays into you getting a good interest rate is going to be your credit. If your credit is not great, and I'm talking about even in this day and age, even if you're at a 660, shoot, I should say a 680, below a 680, then you're going to see, or you're going to have to really pay for that rate. And you're going to see that in discount points, right? So the better you are, or the closer you are to an 800, that's where you're going to see lower rates, or it's going to cost you less to get that rate. Now, the reason why I keep saying that it pays to get that rate is because, for instance, you can have a 680, right? And you want to go conventional, and let's say you want to be in the 5% range. It will literally cost you 5,000 plus, right? Just to get that 5%, or even more when you are in. And that's the thing. So when you're closer to an 800, that's where you will see a better rate. Now, this really plays out whenever you're thinking about investment properties too, right? But if you're thinking in terms of your own primary or secondary, and you know you're footing the bill, you definitely want to make sure that credit score is A1. Just like when you're getting business funding, same thing. You want to make sure that you have a great credit score, because really it pays. I always say cash is king, but credit is queen. And we're here to play chess, not checkers, right? And so if you're thinking about it in terms of, okay, I'm looking to buy a house in the next year or 5 months, the first thing you want to do is check that score, not on Credit Karma. Let me say that, not on Credit Karma. But you want to go to places like Identity IQ, right? Self-reporting places that can give you a more accurate version of your score. Because when you understand this is where I'm at, now you can work towards getting closer to that 800 credit score. All right. This is very important, y'all. I'm telling y'all, like, if you want to save some money and you want to keep as much money in your pocket, work on that credit score. Please type in credit if you understand. Type in credit if you understand. Okay. Yes, credit is queen, because we have to put ourselves in position to win. And if you continuously want to win, and especially building out a real estate portfolio, then you're going to make sure that credit is A1. All right. That's the first thing, always going to be the first thing that any lender is going to look at. That's the first thing we do to even see what programs we can put you in. Because if we don't know your credit score, and let's say you don't want to use your credit score, and you can be able to, let's say you don't have a credit score and you're looking to buy your first primary. Well, as a lender, one of the things that we look at is if you don't have a credit score, we look at your credit history, your past. So we're going to be looking at your utility bills. We're going to look at other things that can determine that score. And you can still be disqualified if you don't have a good credit history with utility bills. We'll look at your rent, if you're paying that on time, like things that can help us drive it if you don't have a score. Right? If you do have a score and you don't want to use it, then and you're looking to buy an investment property, then you're going to end up paying more. So make sure that credit score is A1. The second thing that we're going to look at when you're looking to get, whether it's primary, secondary, or investment loan, is how much money do you actually have available, right? So for my people that's looking to buy their first home or looking to buy their second home and you already have your primary residence, right? So if you already have your primary residence, and you're looking to buy a second home, sometimes they want to see, do you have any at least reserves in your account, right? You got to have some reserves in your account. Yes, Roxanne, credit, I'm telling you. And so with that capital, if you don't have enough in there, that will also automatically disqualify you. So I'm telling you guys, like, this is what happens on our side when we're looking at your loans, right? It's going through a system. There's guidelines that we have to follow. There's laws that we have to follow. And so I want you guys to understand it so you will know how to move and you could be able to build your portfolio faster if you understand this. Okay. So when you're purchasing, if you do not put how much money you have available in terms of asset on that application, you can be automatically denied. Like that. I promise you, you'll be automatically denied because some loan officers will not take the time to make sure. They ask you, like, hey, do you got any assets? If you are filling out an application online and you don't put it in there, I promise you, you may be denied immediately. So with the capital, if you're looking from an investor side, you got to not only have the capital to be able to purchase the property, right? Down payment and closing costs, but you also got to have enough capital to do the renovation. We learned this the hard way, y'all, the hard way. Okay. Learn from us, because when we first got our property, our first investment property, we was like, oh yeah, we can do it for this amount. Nah, we had to end up tapping into other, savings, things like that, because we didn't have the capital. And we didn't realize, like, oh, wow, like you got to have some money. You got to have something. And I'm being real with you. Like, you cannot think that you're about to sit here and buy everything for zero. You cannot sit here and think that you're going, like, you're either, here's the thing. It's just like a business. You either are going to spend to get it, spend your time, or spend your money to get it. Which one? And if you don't have the capital, guess what? You're going to have to spend your time to get it. We know. We've been through it on both sides, right? Only having this is all we got and making it work with that. So when you realize that you may not have enough, then you might need to reassess, like, the situation that you're going into. AKA, is this property, can I actually be able to afford to actually acquire this property, fix it up, renovate it, and put it on the market to rent? Because y'all know we do buy and holds over here all day. We building wealth, right? We are building wealth. And so I want you to understand that capital is very important. It's very important. And when you realize that, yes, Roxanne, you got to plan accordingly. And especially when it comes to renovating an investment property, there's always going to be surprises. Even if you're fixing up your own property. You guys, if you are watching my if you're following me on my page, you will see that we had to take up the floor in our living room. The whole floor is literally, it was gapped, like gone. And we had to rebuild it to stabilize it and to even it out. That was not part of the budget. We did not expect that we would have to do that. That was a surprise. But guess what? You got to have the finances to still be able to cover those surprises. Because I promise you, if you do not, you will be on broke quick. All right. And so that leads me to my third way, which is strategy. Do not, even if you're buying your first home, do not walk into this without a plan. Now, some of my clients that I speak with, their house is considered their forever home. They like, hey, this is it. This is all I want. I'm good with this. And when they tell me something like that, I'm like, okay, well, let's buy in an area that's going to appreciate over time. So if you ever want to tap into your equity, you can be able to do that. Right. And so we'll set up a strategy according to what their financial goals are. But if you're someone that want to be able to not only just purchase your own home, but to build a portfolio of properties, then you got to position yourself, because not only are you looking at how can I really be able to afford this now, fix it up, rent it out, but how can I continuously do this over and over and over again? Because you don't want to put yourself in a predicament where that first house is like your only house because you don't have enough capital to do what you got to do. Do y'all see how all three of these things play together? And so I had a conversation with a client recently, and it was kind of like a shock to them, right? I'm not going to go into any details or anything. It was a shock to them on the capital part. But guess what? I said, well, what is your strategy? They knew exactly what they wanted to do. And we talked strategy depending on and limited to what that capital is, right? But the more capital you have, the better your score is. You have more opportunities that you can really build out a strategy. So your strategy, let's say for instance, I think on day 2 or 3 of the challenge, we talked about how to make 6 figures using real estate, right? Tax-free cash plus building up enough properties to where you can have 6 figures by time you retire, things like that, right? We were talking about that. And we were saying, okay, if you lived in a house for a year, right, you buying it as your primary, and you know that you're going to use that as your strategy, and you may say in your mind, I'm going to buy one every year and move in, move out, move in, fix it up, rent it out, move out to my next one. And I'm going to do that for the next 5 years until I have a portfolio, right? That's what I mean by having a strategy. Knowing what you want to do and how you're going to move. That's what's important. You got to. And yes, like Roxanne, you own it, boo. I love you. You got to have those contingencies. If you are understanding, this is how I want to move, this is what I want to do. And that's where expert in that field comes in, right? That's going to help you strategize. And when situations happen, you come back and okay, this is what happened. This is what I need to work out. What can we do from here? Right? And here's the thing, life be lifing, and I get it. Life happens, right? But having those contingencies, and I love that you said that, Roxanne, because having those contingencies in your plan, but also understanding your own thought process and how you move is also going to dictate how successful, how profitable, and how quickly you can move. Because you got to be in position to win. We're here, and what I mean by winning is building wealth. Now, for those risk adverse people, my risk adverse people that say, I don't like to risk, I like to play it smart, then there's also things that you want to make sure are in place, with making sure you have the capital available when you need it, because stuff does happen in your properties. Stuff happens. And so you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready for what may and may not happen. So you plan for the worst and you expect the best. When you're planning for the worst, then that's where those contingencies come in. Because I always tell my client, if you my client, whether you're watching this as a replay or live, what do we do, y'all? I will say, I'm giving you the worst case scenario. I'm putting the maximum amount in here, because you cannot think that you are going to get something for zero. Now you can. You can get stuff for zero. But there's always, and what I mean by that is, when I say you can't get stuff for zero, is you cannot expect things to happen if you do not have the certain things in place to make it happen. That's what I mean by you can't do nothing with zero. So on our first property, not our first one. Yeah, on our first one. Case in point, Roxanne, bring your thing back up. We did not have a contingency plan together. And that contingency plan that we didn't have together was, what if our renters can't pay rent? We never factor that in. We never factored in what's behind the walls. We never factored in what happens if a pipe busts, or or pipes are too old, or this doesn't pass inspection. I mean, moving now, of course, we know, right? We plan, girl, we add the waste in the budget. We make sure that those contingencies are in, right? Because stuff happens. Now, when we was fixing like our first couple of properties, and we started out with a mobile home. That's how we started. Y'all, when I tell you we did not know half the stuff that we could have done or did do. So we put drywall in the mobile home. We had nice stuff. And people will come over and they be like, "Why y'all do all this?" Right? And we spent well over the budget. Thinking back now, we could have saved so much money if we just sat down, planned, and had all the things that we wanted to do down on paper. We were spending and wasn't tracking the budget. So what that tell you? We didn't have two or number three, capital or strategy. We used up all our capital and had no strategy. We just knew that we needed a property and we wanted to get it rented out. And if you don't understand that no matter if you're getting a primary, a secondary, or an investment, if you are not ready in terms of the credit, the capital, and the strategy, you will lose money. Knowing how to count will save you so much money. Knowing how to count also plays into you knowing how to budget. You guys, I promise you, if you literally write down all of your expenses for the next 30 days, every day and every dime you spent, you will realize you spent a lot of money. And you want to know how I know? I was doing taxes one year and I was going through all of my receipts and I saw that I had spent $6,000 that year at Chick-fil-A. I said, ain't no way I went to Chick-fil-A this many times. Ain't no way I spent this much, $6,000. That may not seem like a lot, but that's a lot. You got to, and that's all because I wasn't tracking my budget. I was just hungry. And I was so like, y'all know how it is. I don't know if y'all, you can go and track. And I promise you, you can save more money tracking your money and being financially literate on how to make sure you keep that money so you can do the things you need to do. But if you can't track your own personal money, I promise you, if you're looking to build a portfolio and do investment properties, you're going to lose. You cannot expect anybody, even a contractor, you as an individual, this is your wealth that you need to do and hold yourself accountable for. I'm telling y'all because this is what I've learned. I learned this the hard way. It's going to cost you time or money or both. If you are looking to position yourself and really be an investor, then you have to make sure that your numbers, you have to make sure you're good on those numbers. You got to have that written down. You have to make sure, like, it's up to you to make things happen. That's nobody's job but your own. I learned that the hard way. I overpaid for stuff. I realized like certain things I could have possibly, did that differently, use different materials. All of these things. I don't care if you're buying it as an investment, primary, secondary, it don't matter. This is the truth. Because when you try and go get a loan, we're looking at these three things, especially from the standpoint of you wanting to buy an investment property. We're definitely going to look at all of that. Because one of the things that's on an application when you're applying for an investment property is, what is your exit strategy? And if you have no exit strategy, they're still going to ask you, what are you going to do with this house? Now, if you're buying a primary or a secondary, right, they expect you to live in it. But in an investment, you got to tell them, what are you going to do? Before we give you any money, what are you doing? What are you doing? So if you don't even know that, how are you going to keep winning? How are you going to build wealth? How are you going to continue to add to your portfolio if you don't know what you're doing? You cannot blame nobody but yourself. I didn't blame nobody but myself. And what I do, I went and I learned it and I got better at it and I kept working at it. That's how you level up. That's really how you level up. Be humble. You don't know it. It's okay. I've been doing real estate for over 10 years and I'm still learning all types of new things. I don't know it all, but I will learn it so that I can be better, save more money, continue to move towards my strategy and help my clients and my students do the same. Because I know making sure credit is in place, making sure capital is there, and making sure you are with a legit strategy that you can follow. It's different than just saying, I'm a moving by, moving by, moving by. Right? Is when you're thinking of it in a wealth way, what is one of the things that corporate companies are doing? Do y'all want to know? They have built enough credit and credibility that they can use other people's capital or their own, because you can leverage your capital for more credit. You can leverage it, right? But they're leveraging it. And guess what their strategy is? I'm going to buy the whole block. So if their strategy is to leverage credit, use the capital they got to even leverage that even more, right? And using that collateral also to bring more capital, because their strategy is to buy the block at a discount. So if we're buying the way that these corporate institutions are buying, then the capital is important. And how we are structuring deals and how we move is just as important, because we may not have as much capital as them. They have millions. I've seen it. Millions ready to buy. I don't need I had a client tell me, I said, so are you looking to have a are you looking to get a land loan? Because we can do land loans. Oh, no. I got the capital. I got that. I just need to get the land, and I said, okay, well, I can still help you, close that deal. Because they know if they ever need it, they got the credit, but the capital is already in the real estate. If they need it, they can go get it. So you got to be smart about the choices that you're making. Whether this is your first property that you're buying, your second property, or an investment property. So as I said, the 100K Payday Bootcamp is not just for people that want to invest, right? Buy investment properties. This is for you to get yourself in position. I want you to win. I want you to. But how can you win if you're not positioning yourself to level up? And we talked about that yesterday. We talked about how there is levels to leveling up. The first thing that happens is conscience incompetency, where you realize, oh man, I don't have this, I don't have that, I'm not understanding that. So what happens? You need to be in learning mode. You have to be humble enough to be willing to learn it. The second level to that is conscience competency, because now you're getting it. Real estate, it takes you doing it. That's how you learn real estate. It takes you doing it. So if you're learning it and now you're getting it, you're going to start seeing those little holes. Okay, I need to learn about, now I need to tighten up on my financial statements, my financial literacy. I need to tighten up on that because I think I just spent too much money. Let me go and work my budget. Let me look at that again. How can I save costs on whatever that is? Where do I need to really allocate my money so I can get the best bang for my buck and make it back whenever I'm looking to rent? The third part of that, unconscious incompetency, right? I mean, unconsciously, Lord, unconscious incompetency, which means you're doing it, you're able to move, right? But now it's still little holes every now and then. So it's like, oh, yeah. Like even with me being in this content cap accelerator, I recognize, oh yeah, let me get I want to get better with this content marketing. I really want to engage with and build a community and share, really wholeheartedly share, and feel no remorse about it, because I know the money's coming, the clients are coming, the students are coming, and I'm going to lead them the way. Right? So I figured out, okay, I'm already marketing, but how can I make myself even better? And then the unconscious competency is where you doing it. You're not even having to think about it. You're doing it. You're doing it. That's how it is with real estate. I can be able to assess a property if it's profitable in 15 minutes or less, because I've been doing it enough and continuously repping and doing it enough to where is now to the point where I am unconsciously competent enough to say that's a good property for this type of strategy. That's where I want you at. Even with buying our first house, I said these are the things that I want to make sure are in this house, because I knew that if we ever want to sell it, it will sell. If we ever want to rent it, it will rent. Y'all, that house has tripled in value in 10 years. Tripled. Tripled in 10 years. Because I took what I was learning, applied it, and continuously did it. The same thing. Continuously did it. And that's how I learned. So you have to put yourself in position to continuously learn it. So there's usually 3 types of people. Ones that said, I'm going to figure it out myself. Bye. Good job. I hope you figure it out. I hope you do. I really do. No, I really hope you figure it out. That second person is, they'll continue to watch my lives. They'll go back. They may watch other people and they'll piece it together, and they're going to make it work with what they got. Right? Do it. You got people that say, that's just going to sit and watch just to see, can they do it? And I say to you, watch. God has done it before. He will do it again. And then you got the third people that say, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready to build something that's bigger than me. I'm ready to retire when I want to. I'm ready to have 6 figures sitting in the bank. I'm ready to put myself in a position that in 5 years from now, I will be where I want to be. Because I have a strategy in place. I have a way to get the capital, and I have the credit that I need to do it. And to you, I would say DM me so we can put you on a path to building wealth that will cut you and save you time, money, and headache. Let's build out your plan. Because what's happening out here is that people want to be investors. I know, because I was one of those, right? People want to be investors, but they're not willing to invest, to actually learn. This is a skill. Like, for instance, me and my husband, we have been doing our own properties for a very long time. Our own properties. So we was using capital, right? It was always other people's capital, other people's money that we used to either acquire a property or fix it up. And so knowing how to do that, we can basically, it's almost like printing money on demand. But you got to be willing to learn it. It's a skill. The only reason why I had an advantage is because I'm a mortgage broker. And I know how loans work. I know how money works on the other side. So I can tell you how it works, but you still got to be willing to learn it on your own. You cannot think that somebody is going to do it for you. You got to do it. So you know that is you, and you know that this is the last day I'm going to draw the line in the sand because I'm ready. Then DM me and let's have a conversation. Because I want to hear your strategy. And I promise you, we can map it out just for you. Because you really want to do this. You know you do. But there are some things that's holding you back. There are some things that you wish that you didn't do. There are some things that you know you got to work on. But what is the best way to get there to your destination? The most simplest way, the most saving way of time and money, and the most quickest way. Those are the people that I want to work with, the people that's ready to learn, the people that's willing to roll up their sleeves and say, I'm going to, okay, I got to come in here and do some things. I might can put that in my schedule. Might make it work. If you can't do it, you got to pay somebody to do it. That's the reality we in. That's the reality. So if that's the reality where you're looking to become an investor, then you got to think like an investor. And the best way I can help you is showing you how on the backside of the money, how it works. Because I want you to win. So like I said, DM me. Let's get these 3 things in place so you can purchase your first or next property. That's all I want to say, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow in day 8 of the 30-day